All right, welcome back to another Consult ROI podcast. I've got Jonathan here, who is part of the self-love revolution, which is a movement about taking the self-sabotage in our life and turning it into self-love, and how you can enjoy both a full bank account as well as a full life in general. So, thank you, Jonathan, for joining here. I know we've only got a brief moment, but I'll let you take the floor, do a brief introduction.
Yeah, well, thank you so much for having me here. It Self-love is the most important skill that we've never been taught. And we've been taught how to compare ourselves to others. We've been taught how to judge others and ourselves. And it makes it really hard to live a life of joy, even if you are successful. I mean, look, I lived 20 years in Hollywood, 20 plus years. And at the time, honestly, it was the life of my dreams. It was a great life. I lived 3 blocks from the beach. I had a great home. I was meeting the biggest stars in the world. Awesome. And I do not say this to brag to you. I say this because I still wasn't happy. Like, what the hell is wrong with me? How can I have all this and something's still wrong? And it's because, okay, I was 3 blocks from the beach, but I'd walk down to the beach, take me 10 minutes to get my feet in the sand. And I'd walk past 2nd Street and Ocean Avenue, and then down the stairs. And then there'd be the houses that are on the beach. And I'd be like, well, when I get to those houses, well, then I can be happy. And we live in this life, and we're trained from a young age to live this life where we postpone happiness. Look, I've met millionaires who are happy. I've met millionaires who are miserable. I've met broke people that are happy. I've met broke people that are miserable. Money's great, but I can guarantee you money's not the answer to your happiness. And we have to find that wealth from the inside, so that when it creates the wealth on the outside, we're happy once we get there.
Awesome. No, I 100% agree with you. And again, that's why we wanted you on this podcast in the first place, because you already believe a lot of those core values that this podcast is all about, which is about how to achieve the ultimate ROI. How can we provide the best return on our investment for our time, our money, our resources, and everything else? And that is one of the core elements. That's the core part of our foundation, is loving ourselves, being happy with what we have. And then that way, because money is just an accelerator, it'll accelerate the good in our life or the bad in our life. And
Yeah.
you are going to choose which that is going to be. So if your life is already miserable, you're already unhappy, money's just going to make that more enhanced. And sure, yes, there is some perks and everything. Like, you might have fun, you might do that. But the fact is if you can't manage money, then you can't manage, uh, or you can't manage money now, then you won't manage money then. If you already have relationships issues now, you're going to have relationship issues then. It doesn't change. In fact, you might have more relationship issues, because then you'll have more opportunities to be unfaithful. You'll have more opportunities to um, blow it on things that you shouldn't, that might bring you temporary happiness. But temporary happiness never was true happiness, right?
Yeah. And,
It's
and you mentioned ROI. I'm going to tell you. And look, this is not my first business. I had an internet startup in the mid 90s, very successful. I was a TV producer for years. I was a part of other startups. Here's what I've discovered. My company now, a combination of this, the self-love revolution, along with the mindfulness center I had. How can my mindfulness center be the most successful company? I had one of the top online music startups, LA Live, in the 90s, early 2000s. How can this be more successful? It's because if you want the best ROI, your best way to ROI is kindness. Kindness is your best investment. Kindness to yourself and kindness to others. The ROI, the return you get, I don't know when you're going to be watching this, but right now we're recording this. We're in the middle of a pandemic. There's a virus going around there. But I'm going to tell you that there is a more powerful virus, and that virus is kindness. and it spreads. But you have to start the virus. And each of us can start the virus, and it spreads from person to person. They've actually done research. Your one act of kindness, that next person spreads it to
So I
5 people.
equivalent good deeds as a plant, and then I equivalent the negative as bacteria or mold or anything. So mold can grow a lot quicker, right? The negative in your life substantially can squash out all life and that, and make it to where you can have to throw out all the good. Because if you let that mold get into your good garden, onto your vegetables and everything else, it goes right in the trash, right? And so it takes love, care, and nurturing, and that's why a lot of people aren't willing to do it, because it does take work, it does take sacrifice, it does take that, but the gratification is substantially more fulfilling. And the pay it forward mentality that you're talking about is so much like there's that psychological effect on what it does for you, and the endorphins that it releases, and that is so much healthier for you.
And when you're healthier, you're stronger. When you're stronger, you can work harder, right? I mean, some people talk about self-love as something that's selfish. We're just thinking of ourselves. But the truth is, when you offer yourself kindness, you are able to be kinder to other people. When you have less judgment of yourself, you have less judgment of others. Self-love is the greatest gift that you can give for those people in your life that are most important, those people in your family, the friends that you care about. When you're kind to yourself, you become kinder to them. And especially, if any parents are watching, well, don't you want your kids to live a life of joy and happiness? Well, you got to model it for them. We need to begin to model this for the next generation. We're teaching the wrong things. We teach science, teach technology. Look, I love all that. Here I am on Zoom on a computer. This stuff is awesome. But they call these soft skills: forgiveness, gratitude, resilience. These aren't soft skills. These are the hard skills that you need in order to live a successful life, especially when it changes so quickly. We have no idea what the world will be like in 10 years. The technology you learn today, gone. You must learn these resilient skills of acceptance, gratitude, forgiveness, and self-compassion. You must learn them if you're going to live a successful life long term.
Well, best known will beat best product 10 out of 10 every single time in that. And what I mean by that is, what do you want to be known for? What do you want your brand and that, and your love and everything else to be? Do you want to be that bitter person in life, and that everyone knows is kind of just that egotistical person? And this is not to say that you won't in production of being business. So naturally, as part of being a business owner, you will have haters that come out against you. But as you accumulate or connect with your tribe, and that, like people like Jonathan or like-minded individuals that are in that mindset of improvement, in the mindset of always continuing, always providing value, always giving, and always doing that, then it's one of those things, those communities that you can never go broken, because everyone is willing to give to each other, always willing to help in that. So I always look at it as like, well, what do you want to be known for? What is your return on investment and everything? Um, and how you can communicate and everything is probably one of the hardest skills that you can ever learn, because I am a firm believer that all issues are communication issues. The brass tacks of it, the reason that we have so many different views, polarizing things, is just the lack of communication, that we can't articulate or whatever else. And we always think that we are right in our own universe or our own world. And that, but as we change that and we change the perception, like, hey, we can be wrong, and we work on that communication style and that language and be able to understand others, and we have that love and compassion. Because if we are always approaching every conversation with, well, I'm right, you're wrong, blah blah blah, you're not going to make connections, you're not going to do that, which means you're not going to be the most known, which means that you're not really going to get anywhere, and you're going to stick exactly where you are. So that's why I believe that communication and kindness is the foundation for one of the hardest skill sets, which is communication, which is, again, one of the foundational keystones in success as a business owner.
so much. And part of the problem we have with communication is that we put on these masks because we're afraid of how someone else will judge
All
us.
puns
And I
intended.
put on the mask, okay, how will I impress Cameron today? How can I make him think that I'm worthy and I'm cool? So I put on the mask specially made for Cameron, because when I'm with my buddies, I might have another mask. And when I'm with my boss, I might have another mask. I don't have a boss, but so we put on these masks, and it's because we're afraid of who we really are. When we get to take these masks off, and I just show up here, and you know what? Look, I'll be honest, at the end of the day, hey, I hope you like me. But if you don't, it's okay, because I am going to look myself in the mirror tonight before I go to bed, and I'm going to say, Jonathan, I love you. Jonathan, I got your back. Jonathan, you did a great job today. You showed up, you impacted some people, you had good conversation, communications, to your point, right? This isn't my first one today. And that's how I will end my day. And I'll start it tomorrow by waking up saying, Jonathan, it's great to see you this morning. Love you. We're going to have a good day together. This is a great day to share love with yourself and love with others. And that's how we create richness in our lives, both internally, but when you create it here, don't worry, the external will grow, I promise you.
That's powerful. And I think you're so right again on a lot of those regards. And that's why I always try to align myself with people that are always every single day trying to be 1% better. 1% doesn't seem like much in that, but if you look at the grand scheme of things, 1% a day in returns, whether it's investment, whether it's personal, whether it's anything else, is astronomical. That's phenomenal returns. And yes, there's some times that you could lose quite a bit. You could take that. It's somebody else on our podcast used it's the metaphor of the game of snakes and ladders. So some people in that will provide great ladders and that, but there's other times we make poor choices and everything else in it. It's those snakes that just drag us down a few layers of that. But it's the law of averages, right? As we always get in the mindset of, hey, you know what, this day I'm just going to try to be 1% better than I was yesterday. It's the fact that some days we might get 3% better. Some days we might get 5%, but at least we're on the right path. And even if we slip back 10% every here and there, we're still on the right path.
Hey, I love that. What a great question to wake up to. Look yourself in the mirror and say, how will I grow 1% today? How will I be 1% better than yesterday? What a great way to set the day. I love that.
And it's very minimal. And it's like everybody can do 1%. That's literally one little drop in a huge glass of water.
Set yourself up for success. It's doable. And at the end of 100 days, that's 101%. And it keeps going after that.
Exactly. 100%. Well, thank you so much, Jonathan, for providing so much value on that. Is there anything else that you would like to say as kind of a closing remark, or and then also you can kind of go into where to find you for anybody that's listening.
You can find me at selfloverevolution.com. Very simple, selfloverevolution.com. Of course, you can find me on Facebook, Instagram, Clubhouse, all the regular places. And if I want to leave you with anything today, it's this. Pick one thing and say something kind to yourself. You don't have to jump into it. Okay, every word I say has to be positive, and I have to love everything about myself. Start with one thing. Maybe it's just because you're watching this, so your eyes are working. Thank you, eyes, for working. Thank you, ears, for still working. Thank you, neck, for being able to turn, whatever it is. Or great job making breakfast, cooking dinner, being a mom, being a dad, whatever it was. Pick one thing and say something kind to yourself today. And then do it every day for the rest of your life.
Well, that goes to the 1%. 1% of just loving yourself. And that is so phenomenal. Excellent way to close this. Thank you again so much for being a part of this podcast and providing value. to our listeners. Can't wait to have you guys, you on this podcast again. Apparently I can't talk today.
Well, I look forward to that. Thank you so much. And I am looking forward to and welcoming our next time together.
Awesome.